So this is the last vodcast dealing with mineral properties. This is vodcast 8, and we're going to be looking at just some special properties, some odd traits that very, very few minerals have, but if they do have them, it helps out a lot in actually identifying them. The first one that we're going to do is known as effervescence, and to test if a mineral effervesces, what you need is one of these. All right, it's a little dropper bottle. Inside it is some diluted hydrochloric acid. All right, and what happens with some minerals? Let's zoom in a little bit. All right, got this mineral right here in front of us, and there we go. If you take a small amount of acid, just a drop will do, and place it on it, what you notice is that it actually begins to fizz. All right, that fizzing is known as effervescence, and if you got really close, you would actually hear it. So that is a really good test. Only a carbonate mineral, right? There are certain groups, carbonates will fizz like this. Effervescence. Now, a couple things that you need to know about this. Obviously, acid is something you don't really necessarily want to play with, so do not use these dropper bottles as eye drops. All right, don't squirt them or dump them on it. It only takes a drop. Some students will put more on there in hopes that it will fizz. One drop will tell you yes or no. Sometimes the mineral actually will absorb it. All right, but again, you need to see that really active fizzing. That's effervescence. Now, you don't need to do this on every single mineral. There's one criteria, that it has a non-metallic luster, like this. This is a glassy, definitely non-metallic luster. As you can see, it does not, since it has a non-metallic luster, you can test it with acid. If it's got a metallic luster, like this mineral would definitely not need to be tested. All right. Anything that's metallic will not fizz, so do not test those. There's some things that can happen if you put acid on some of those metallic minerals. Secondly, now that you have acid on this, you need to get rid of that acid. So take it to the sink, run it under the water, all right, and wipe it dry, please. All right, so that was effervescence. Another neat special property deals with certain minerals that are very clear. All right, let me just draw a line here. So you see there's one line, but some minerals have a property known as double refraction. As you can see, the one line here, as you look through the mineral, has actually been split into two. All right. Only one mineral that we have does this. So if you see this property, it's a very good indication of what kind of mineral it is. Double refraction. A third property that we can test is whether a mineral is magnetic or magnetized. What's the difference? So what I have in front of me here are two different minerals and a bar magnet and a paperclip. Right? If this magnet is attracted to it, then we call that magnetic. So if I hold it, right, you can see that it definitely is attracted to that. And on this one also. All right, so if a magnet will stick to it, it's magnetic. However, if you take a paperclip, this is not a magnet, it just has a lot of iron in it, right, and it actually sticks to it, then we call it magnetized. So magnetized will actually have is attracted to metal, all right, things like iron, and if it doesn't, see, it just slides off this piece right here. This is not magnetic, just magnetized. All right, so magnetized means it'll hold a magnet. All right, magnetized means it'll hold a paperclip to it. Another property that we can use is called specific gravity. To demonstrate what that is, all right, I'm going to use this sample right here. All right, this is up in the front of the room if you want to take a look at it and get a good feel for what I'm talking about here. If you hold this in your hand, all right, you would feel that this sample is extremely heavy for its size. All right, if it has a very high specific gravity, it's very similar to density. All right, it actually compares the ratio of its density to that of water. We're not going to be measuring the density of these samples and then comparing it. What we will do, though, is something known as hefting. And hefting is just holding in your hand, all right, and feeling its weight. Does it feel really, really heavy for its size? If it does, that means it has a high specific gravity. On the other hand, if I were to hold it in my hand and it feels exceptionally light, all right, that means it has a very low specific gravity. Some minerals or rocks will have a very, very high specific gravity, and you can pick it up and feel it. Some will have a very, very low, but most just feel as heavy as it should. It's normal rock, and it's nothing that stands out. And the final special property that we're going to go through is fluorescence. To test for fluorescent, you're going to need one of these. All right, black light. Now this black light, all right, is emitting UV light, light that we don't see but we can sense through getting a sunburn. And certain minerals will actually absorb this light and re-emit it in different colors that we can see. And to test this, you need to have dark, and you need to have samples. Okay. So, got my samples here, and I got my samples, I got my black light, turned off the lights. There'll be a box here with the black light that you guys are going to use. But what happens here, if I turn on my black light, you can notice that these minerals start to glow different colors. Right. For example, this one. Now there are two sides. There's a short wavelength, long wavelength. You may have to change it around. This one glows a blue. It's kind of neat. This piece glows a nice bright green, as well as this one. And this piece, start to see here, got a nice orange red glow to it on one side. This looks purple on my computer screen. And this one's really cool. This one's got multiple colors. It's green and orange. Right? But that would be a really distinct property that sometimes minerals have. Most of the time they don't. There's one that will almost always have it. And that would be a good way to identify it. But that is the last of your special properties.